The federal government has given implementation of a 40% automatic deduction from internally generated revenue of the federal universities and other partially funded institutions in the country. The information was contained in the letter that was issued by the Accountant General of the Federation, Mrs. Oluwatoyin Medin, to the universities, titled Implementation of the 40% automatic deduction from internally generated revenue of partially funded federal universities. The letter on implementation of the policy, dated 17th October 2023, and addressed to Vice Chancellors of universities, was approved by the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, and signed by the Director of Revenue and Investment in the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation, Felix Oroefe. However, key players across the education sector has kicked against the policy, saying it will strangulate their activities and also deprive them of embarking on major infrastructure and critical projects that will put the institution at its pair with other counterparts elsewhere. They wondered at a time like this, when universities are crying about paucity of funds, that the federal government will come up with such a plan. But those on the side of the government feels different, with the knowledge that the institutions are controlled by government. At least funds generated from it should also be managed by the government to also put back into the institution for better management. But the big question and the big story for today is, what will such a policy and directive truly mean for our higher institution of learning? And will, at the end of such directive, the students and parents not be at the receiving end? Well, a look at this and more as it concerns the new policy is what this edition of the big story is all about. And that is federal government and its demand for varsity's 40% IGR. That's what we're having as a major discourse today on the big story. And we're talking about federal government demand from varsity's 40% of their internally generated revenue. And that's what we're having as a major discourse today on the big story. And to truly help us talk about this, we have no other person but Professor Ezekiel Oagbalagba. He's the immediate past ASU chairman of FUPRI and the Dean College of Science of FUPRI. Good morning and welcome to the show, sir.
Good morning.
Well, anyways, I would just really want us to quickly go to it. And if we are starting this, I rather want us to start with the reactions from your national president, Professor Emmanuel Osodeko, when he reacted to this recent policy and directive of the federal government. And he said the decision of the federal government is disheartening. And he went further to say it's more of an attack on university system. So I would really want to ask, if it's an attack on the system, why so? Because why I'm asking that question, why is it more of an attack on the system? Because the university sector or the universities have always told us that there's no fund there. So I'm wondering, how can it be an attack on the universities when they've always given us that notion that the universities do not generate funds and they don't have any fund? So taking 40% from them is like, well, come and take what we don't even have. So I'm wondering how it's more of an attack and why it's disheartening. But anyway, I still want your reaction as it concerns that very circular with reference number FMFBNP/orders/IGR/CFR/12/2021 by the Finance Ministry.
Thank you, Mr. Ray.
No, don't mind me for pushing a laugh.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead.
You see, government is joking. I will say that because, first, as the university system actually doesn't generate revenue. If you look at the charges, there's no tuition fee.
Of course.
So if you said IGR, where is it coming from? That's the first question.
Okay.
Because for every item charged that the school authority is charging students is for an item. Okay. But if you look at the directive, gross deductions, that means irrespective of whatever it is,
coming 40%.
40% to given to government, and all these were itemized. Take for example, medical for student. Okay. Medical, they will do X-ray test.
Okay.
They will do some basic test, which the amount is what the school authority is charging. And government said bring 40%. Library.
Okay.
We buy books. We have e-library where students go to and do their research. They said whatever that has been charged, bring 40%. Not only that, take for example, student union government these days, we don't allow them because I am the immediate past dean student affairs.
Okay.
Because of maybe they may likely misappropriate this fund, everything is collected on remitter. And it goes to government account first before the school authority will remit back. Government will not understand that. Even other unions like National Association of Engineering Students, National Association of Science Students, and NADESU Students, all their union dues are collected on remitter. All go to the remitter first. Government is saying, because it's gross, government is saying bring them to them. So if you look at that directive, it's a pointer to a final strangulation of the university system.
So, but because I'm just really wondering, if the universities are not making money, why worry if government is going to take anything? Let them come to an empty purse and let them satisfy themselves with what they feel is there.
You see the directive.
Yes.
Why the university are worried?
Yes.
You see, take for example, they control the fund because every charge you cannot even a 10 naira. I am the editor-in-chief of Fulbright Journal of Science and Technology, Scientific and Industrial Research. I am the chief editor. I cannot access 10 kobo. It must go to remitter. Because no university create an account. Even though this money is meant for the journal, now government is saying that this money, because that charges one is for reviewers, one is for the paper printing, others is for editorial process.
Yes.
Now, this is a fund well itemized because it's not a profit making, it's for knowledge sharing. Now, government is saying bring 40%. How do we pay reviewers? How do we pay
because that naturally would be my next question. Now, this gross, are they talking about profit after deductions, or let's really understand this? So is it all about the profit that's accruable and that's when they're taking the 40%, or are they just even talking about money itself? Let's understand.
You see, I can't interpret government, but that word gross and a gross listing, a gross fund coming to the university, it implies by that not net. If it's net, I'll say after
total amount, yes,
now
collected.
The university is not a fund generating institute, because it's knowledge generating, so it's not for fund. So that's why the government doesn't allow university to charge tuition fee. So if they said whatever that is coming, take for example postgraduate programs. Postgraduate is a non-NUC program. Ordinarily, the teachers who are involved supposed to be paid some remuneration, and all these charges
away from the institution.
Yes,
because it's
so if the university charge maybe a postgraduate student, a master student, 112,000 naira, like in my university, for example, 112,000 naira, which are now itemized for various purposes. The federal government now comes that bring 40% of that money, irrespective of whatever you want to do with the other one, go and manage. It's a total directive to keep the university system.
Well, we do know, just like you said, that most of the fees are being paid directly into the federal government account. That's how it's being run. But I know people at home will be a bit curious to understand, okay, what are those items that normally institutions request for that are not just tuition fee based? Because, for example, you made mention of ID cards, health. So what are those other major issues that the university charge for that are different from the tuition fees that the government is seeking for now?
Every line item of government, now examination, there's booklet, university examination is an item, ICT is an item. Or in short, if I would have itemized all of them. Now, for stationaries, staff use for teaching, they are there. And all these components, hosted are there, which are for maintenance of the hostel, cleaning, all the rest. All are in that charges. Now, we call them charges because they are not outside. They are factor into it so that we can take care of those things. Government is not bringing funds for that. Even running the university system today, government only pays salary. Because of my closeness to management now, I see that for we are in the third quarter of the year. Government just released 12 million naira for 1 full year. I know as a venture to the university. Yeah. I know for a month my university run not less than 6 to 8 million naira diesel. So where did they raise those money? That's the question. So if government is giving this directive, I am praying that they should be able to say we are going to take all the expenses, running costs of the university. Because see, today we call some of these vice chancellors from the ASU angle that they are errand boys to government, because every day they are in Abuja. As we speak now, my vice chancellor is in Abuja for one reason or the other. Their expenses incur way of his hotel bills, way of feeding and other things, flight and the rest.
It comes directly from the institution.
Yes, the school pays. In short, virtually every week the vice chancellor have a cost to be in Abuja. The bursar have a cost to be in Abuja, and once a while other government other staff of the university are always in Abuja for one program or the other, being funded by the university. Where are they going to raise those money? If you are taking this 40%, because in the midst of all this, the university may be able to save 1 or 2 from these charges, and that is where they run. And even some at times they cannot run it. I know of period now that the vice chancellor use his personal money. Any person that is going on any journey, you use your fund until fund comes before the school can pay. In my college now, the full building, there was no light when I resumed as a dean of College of Science. I said no, I cannot continue like this. I have to use my personal money to go and install solar in the dean's office and the adjoining offices, so that we can function. And you see now that when there is no light, staff have to move down to my office. That's the boardroom for them to work. So it's as bad as that. And government still now coming with a policy. What I want to say is that government should first of all define their policy direction. If not, they will destroy more than.
So you feel it's more like strangulating the university.
That's just the best language to use.
Okay, now let's continue with this, because you do know that what we tend to do on Quest, we tend to do big investigation as it concerns each of the topic we do, and let's look at something. We were privileged to obtain and have a review of financial records and documents done by the Senate Public Accounts Committee in February of last year. And the committee observed that the University of Abuja, for example, generated the sum of over 2.413 billion internally generated revenue from 2016 and 2017 alone. And on that premise, I feel that's the reason we're having this new directive, because immediately after that review and that investigation, we in the media space started getting signs that such policies will come out. We're not surprised of this new directive of the federal government. All is hinged on that very review of the Senate committee as it concerns internally generated revenue. And with what we are also hearing from the government is they feel if these monies are being generated and your institution do not pay, the schools do not pay salary, the federal government does. And they feel it's only right that they get a part of the bounty, a part of the amount being generated by the universities. So that's where they stand.
They were able to investigate the university generate 2.5 billion.
2.413 billion.
Good. Now,
in 2 years, 2016, 2017.
In 2 years,
yes.
Did they tell you how much they spent?
Well, we're not privy with that very information.
That government did not fund.
But we checked that subversion of 12 million was coming to the institution.
It's budgeted but not released. You see, most of these budgets, you say budgeted this, but are not released. Now, if they generate 2.5 billion, for example, now how much did they spend? Now, the university are autonomous by way of they should be able to do some capital project.
Okay.
For example, maintenance. If government doesn't release money, that means you mean no building should be maintained. Okay. I just concluded accreditation, for example.
Okay.
My university, my college, we had 5 programs for accreditation.
Yeah.
The university, I know how much the university spend. How much is federal government released to do that? equipment that the university bought. I have a department that the workstation got bad because of lack of electricity supply for some period, and the AC. And the university spent almost 8 million naira for only one department. That is for only one equipment for the workstation. And then other things are coming up.
But let me ask, don't you people request from the federal government? You know, it's a federal institution, sir.
Federal government only pays salary. The only body that intervene in university is TED Fund. And TED Fund are interested in buildings, not equipment, not teaching material. And in maybe one or two occasions, they will just bring some of this thing. But government cannot, TED Fund cannot do all. And understand, TED Fund is a baby of ASU. An idea of ASU, fought by ASU and taken to government for implementation. So you should know that government have relinquished all their responsibility. Look at budget of education today. Look at the supplementary budget you just talked about now.
Yes.
What was budgeted for education? But you talk about defense. See, if you don't get education right, you cannot get any other sector right. Say any country that wants to make progress must invest in education. But if you want to strangulate education, you will continue to invest on security, invest on other areas. It will not work.
So let's still remain with it. Now, this is where Nigerians are a bit curious and confused about. Now, if federal government goes ahead with this directive, many are asking, how much of an impact will it have on the institution? Because why I ask this, we do know from a fact that before now, federal government was taking 25% of your generated revenue, except most universities did not know. It is there in the records. So people are wondering, what will a 15% increase mean, and what impact will this have?
My simple question is, that policy, has it had any effect before now? No. Because government has realized that they don't even have anything to take. The same government who give directive that, look, you cannot charge tuition fee.
Okay.
And the only tuition fee, that is the only thing that government should be able to tax.
Yes.
Or should be able to say, bring this percentage.
Yes.
Now, any other
outside
revenue generated within the university are charges made for a specific purposes. So what are they going to charge? Now, they are not coming up with gross. That language gross, that's the only challenge, because it means that irrespective of whatever you want to define on it, we are going to go ahead and deduct. That's the challenge. Because if you go by, say, 50%, then whatever that is tuition, that is what government can charge. But now he said whatever you generated. And over the years, they have looked at the books of the university.
Yes,
and I know they know that they don't have any cost to have anything deducted. And that is why they have not been able to implement that policy. Because if you said charge 25% of your generated revenue, it must come from somewhere.
Yes, of course.
Now, take for example, there are non-professional programs which they're supposed to get that money from, because that is outside the university this thing, and they are charged not based on really
yes. It's different from
but some of this money are used back for other projects in
research and all of that.
You see, some university, if you have gone to some university on their own, from their IGRO, they were able to build facility. They were able to buy some equipment. So we just, as I said, we just finished this thing, and we are lacking so many equipment.
Okay, I'll plead with you. We'll not lack on talking more about this, but we'll talk deeply into it. We need to go on a break now. And when we come back, we'll continue our discussion centered on that new directive from the federal government insisting that the end of November, which is this month, 40% of internally generated revenue from universities will be deducted from them. Let's go on a break.